Time now for Coming In Hot with Brent Wallace, Bobby Ryan, and Jason York.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Coming In Hot. Brent Wallace alongside Jason York and Bobby Ryan. Guys, from now on, after last night's loss to Vancouver, this will only be a professional women's hockey league show.
I got no problem with that.
At least it was fun and exciting.
Now we get to have the same conversation we had last week.
Hey, we had a good. Listen, you got to just change the subject. Talk about gifts and things like that.
Well done.
So, Yorkie, you now, I think you may have worn out my phone battery with all the notification I got over X with all your gifts, but we will get to that in a sec. Everybody, welcome to the show. Happy to have everybody in the chat. I want to get right into a few things, and we've got a lot to discuss about last night's game in Vancouver that didn't go according to plan, if you're an Ottawa Senator fan, to say the least. But first, I'm starting positive here. This is a new year. I want to start positively with the show today. So let's get to our hot performer, which is brought to you. Actually, it might be cold. Who knows? But I've already sold it off as hot now. It's brought to you by DoorDash. As always, go to DoorDash, open the app, download it, and start getting what you want delivered. Get everything you need, even at the last minute. Movie theater popcorn like Drake Batherson? Just open the DoorDash app and enjoy the perfect movie night on your couch. Choose what you want from where you want with Double Dash on DoorDash. Order from multiple restaurants or stores in the same delivery without additional delivery fees, so everyone can get what they want or need. For a limited time, our listeners get 25% off and zero delivery fees in their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter code NATION25. That's 25% off, a $10 value, zero delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter code NATION25. All right, here we go. Today, I'm going with the PWHL game last night in Ottawa against Montreal. It was exciting, but it also set a world record for the most attended game of professional women's hockey ever. 8,318 fans. And there's a chance tonight in Minnesota they could eclipse that mark, but we'll see if that happens or not. But congrats to a hugely successful inaugural event in Ottawa, to everybody involved, especially our good friend Pierre Gru, who was the goalie coach there, former Ottawa Senator goalie coach. And Sylvain Saint Laurent is now the PR guy, as we know. So
well done.
I just wanted, just a shout out to the women and that league, and I hope it does extremely well. It looks like it was
good. Well, I watched I watched the game from start to finish at home. I had a lot of friends that were there watching it. Had a great time, and awesome. Like I said before, awesome decision to go 24 games, 12 home dates, I believe, 12 road dates. They might do a few neutral source games, but get a buzz going, right? Get a buzz going, get people excited. Very, very smart.
They got a chance to beat that record in Minnesota. That state loves hockey. They really embrace it. Are they in Minneapolis or St. Paul? Do you remember?
I don't know what rink they're at,
because
I do know they've sold 7,000 tickets, but they have a chance to get to, I think, 11.
That's incredible. Yeah. That's a great hockey state. A great hockey state. So, and they just got the World Juniors, I saw.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. So, it is a good. I covered it. I think I covered a World Junior there a long time ago. Anyway, I do enjoy going there. It's a good rink.
Don't bring up World Juniors right now, Bob.
Okay, sorry, boys, but great rink in Minnesota. And you know what? Tough restaurant scene. A little bit tough in the restaurant department.
There's just, you stay around the rink. Around the hotel. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and then the hotel one's always off limits because the coaches. That's right. They rule of thumb. So, a couple good restaurants in the area, but never. You're never quite like you're going to Vegas.
I love that. Wally, that is a great. Well, because the players can't go there. But when I was doing games for Sportsnet, that St. Paul Grill there inside the hotel there is amazing. Love that spot.
The bar or the restaurant?
Whole thing. That's great.
Okay. I think I've had breakfast there, but that's about it.
You know what you get?
There's a great diner for breakfast.
They just bring you a big ass steak. They got great cocktails. They just do things right in there. Customer service.
So
fair enough.
So back in the day when I was traveling on the charter with the team, we went from either Winnipeg. No, we went Minnesota to Winnipeg. If you remember, that was just around the time that Craig Anderson, they said, is going to play tonight. And then Dave Cameron goes, he's not playing tonight. I don't know if you remember that, but anyway,
vaguely
they were screwing. So that for those who don't know, if the media, when they traveled with the team, just had everything booked for them. So they'd have their rooms added or their flight would be taken care of, all that stuff. You pay for it, but you just have it all booked in with the team. So there was a couple times where my room key wasn't available with everybody else's room. And there were times when my hotel may not have had a reservation, but we get to Minnesota and it's late at night. It's like 2 a.m. No room key, nothing. So eventually they give me a key. I go upstairs, but I'm getting off the elevator with players. Now, Bob, media not on the same floor ever with the players.
Yeah, never.
I'm like, go into my room. Hey, I'm right next to the restaurant fans. I can just hear them all humming because I'm right over top of the restaurant. This is gonna be a long night. I get a call within 5 minutes. We need to move your room. Apparently you're on the wrong floor.
And 5 minutes in, I know that you already unpacked and you were done. Yeah.
I've got my slippers on. They were screwing around with me a little bit when I was traveling with the team. Yeah.
What were you doing that we weren't aware of, big guy?
Like that came from the top.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah. So anyway,
no problem.
Yeah. Good times. All right, we're moving on. Last night's game, the 6-3 loss against Vancouver. That started horribly and never got a whole lot better. 5 goals against in the first period. Yorkie, do you want to start by summing that game up?
I'll tell you right now, and I've been saying this for 2 weeks, Ottawa's forwards don't know how to block shots. They don't. They need to go back to hockey school 101 on getting out to the point, getting inside the shooting lane, and just being more urgent. Like to me, and everyone's blaming, there's a big narrative out there right now, and everyone's going, well, this is all the fault of the previous regime, blah, blah, blah. You can't keep blaming coaches and play. At the end of the day, it comes down to the players. When you step on the ice, you have to look across to the guy you're playing against and say, you're not out competing me this shift. And that first period in Vancouver, they just second on pucks, losing foot races, mental errors, missed assignments off faceoffs, and just not willing. I don't know if they're not willing, because everyone's willing. I do believe everybody works hard. Bob, I don't know about you, but I've never went into a game where I haven't worked hard, haven't tried. Mm-hmm. But I just think there's a level of desperation, a level of commitment to doing the little things defensively that you need to be successful in the league that this team just doesn't do consistently.
They don't do it because they don't know how to do it.
Listen, getting into the shooting lane, it's not fun. I saw Ridley Gregg do it in the third period. I don't know if you saw that play. It was a desperation play when it was, I don't know, the game was out of hand. He slid across and ate a puck. But you don't see that early in the game ever. Like there's so many.
Well, early in the game, he was the one that, he came out, I think, too late to the point. And
I'll tell you what happened on that goal. What happened was McEwen was first down in the zone. So Bob will tell you this as a forward. When you're first back in the zone, you are automatically playing down low. Ridley Gregg's like thinking, well, I'm the centerman. I'm supposed to be down there. So nobody was on that far point. That's a mental error by Ridley Gregg.
Right.
It's not that he didn't want to get out there or he wasn't trying. It's called a mental error of not being in the right place and reading the situation. Everybody, I teach Pee-wee players F1, F2, F3 when they get back in the zone. This team just makes a lot of mental errors. They do. And it's got to be worked out. That was one of them. And again, that's not from not working. It's just from not being aware. And
I think to Ridley's point there, it's almost overworking because you're like, I want to fix the mistake of having that guy low. And you're like, no, just don't compound it. That's
exactly
the simplest thing you can do is not compound, right?
Yeah. And let's be honest here. I'm not going to sit here and shit on a kid that young with that little experience in the league. It is very hard to play center in a National Hockey League. And to do what he's done thus far in his career is very impressive. He works his ass off. He will give you 100%. He's going to make mistakes. Yep. But that's the situation the Senators are in right now. You've got a very young group that doesn't know how to play in their own zone. And that's why they continue to do this. It takes a long time to master being a really good 200-foot player, especially the center ice position. And you've got Stützle and Norris that aren't great at it. And then you've got Ridley Gregg, who works hard, but he's just doesn't have the experience. And that's why you keep seeing mistakes. And then you throw in this MD that had bad nights last night, like Hamonic in particular had like a first period you wanted to forget about. And I actually believe this too. This team has lost their mojo. They're not confident anymore. The one thing they were good at, Bob, was offense. They've even lost their confidence in that. Like you can tell because once the game's out of hand and all the damage is done, you kind of relax. And you're like, all right, 5-1. Now let's start playing.
Yep.
So anyways, that's what I see.
For me, I have never seen a team so bad in defensive zone coverage when the team brings 3 high. Mm-hmm. I've never seen it. And it's like, I remember a coach saying one time, should we just go to man on man? And I'm like, no, because then you're going to have guys all over the place. But it's to the point where I'm like, if the 2D are at the point, one shifts down, you bring a guy high, the D never go up. The centers are always below. Maybe they're just over exaggerating because we've talked about them being too far ahead of the puck. Now they're like, well, I got to be below it. It's like, no, but you still have to go get your guy that shifts to the point. You could count 8 to 10 instances in the first period last night where Vancouver just got mobile and Ottawa just stood around and looked. And then you just got guys looking over their shoulder. One guy's buzzing in, one guy is buzzing out, and nobody identifies the situation whatsoever. It's baffling. And it's like when that started, I kind of saw that shift. Like when I started in the NHL, you never had 3 guys high. Patrick Kane, and then guys started going up to get more room at the top of the circle, and you got D more involved. And it's an adjustment period, but these guys have grown up with that. Mm-hmm. So there's no reason for them not to be able to identify it. When we have a couple defensemen that they get to a certain point and they stop. And it just gives that guy 15 more feet of ice to go up and make a play. The amount of passes through the box last night, it was awful. They looked like they had a good New Year's Eve.
There was no time. Did you know the one goal from last night's game? It was the ricochet goal. The big Russian shot it from the point there. The guy that played what's
Miller ended up with it, I think.
Yeah,
Dorop shot it.
Yeah, so I just noticed when Ottawa plays against teams, especially off lost draws, the other team's defense have so much time. When you get a 1 draw and you're a defenseman and you can do a couple of Mississippis, like you're going to get that puck through to the net. Mm-hmm. And I remember that goal in particular, Giroux was taking the face off. Norris was lined up as a winger. Lost draw, a little bit of a delay inside the dot, and all of a sudden the puck comes to the point. Norris is supposed to get out there, and there's like it's not instinctual when these guys play defense. Like there's just no urgency to get out to the point, and all of a sudden there's all kinds of time, there's all kinds of space. Lucky goal. Like it was very lucky. It went off one guy's stick off, but still the time and space you allow other teams is just incredible. But we'll see. This is man. Anyways, this has gone off the rails, and it's not going to get easier on this road trip. You're heading in playing a Seattle team that they figured their shit out right now. Like they're playing very well.
They've won 5 straight. Edmonton, the next opponent, has won 6 straight. They're 14-3 in the last 17 games. Yeah, these are a tough 2 games coming up, and Edmonton doesn't play again until Ottawa.
Well, let's hope they're having a New Year's party themselves or doing something.
let's do. We got to do something fun here.
Okay. Okay, Yorkie. You know what? I will save what I have next. I will let you, but before we do that, we'll do some work. But I will let you get to your gift magistry if that's what you want to do. So
gotta have some fun around here.
All right, fair enough. This show is always brought to you by Battlegrounds Axe Throwing. It's safe, it's fun, it's great for a party, event, or just something to do. It requires no practice. Just come to Battlegrounds Axe Throwing Facility, and the coaches will show you the ropes and show you how to hit the target safely. Fun for the family, as well as the kids 12 and up can throw with a guardian. Book for a date night, small groups, flat rate parties, or even set up your own tournament if you wish. To find a location, book your event, go to battlegrounds.com, BATL grounds.com, 2615 Lancaster Road near Science and Tech Museum. Guaranteed a good time at Battlegrounds Axe Throwing, where your safety is a priority.
As always, our good friends at BEI, Bonisher Excavating Incorporated, helping to shape the Ottawa Valley by being heavy civil general contractors in both the public and the private sectors. So when planning your next project, consider them for your aggregate supply needs, all things equipment rentals, customs crushing and screening. They move stuff. You can find them at bonisherexcavating.com or at 613-432-1120. As always, thank you. And slow down in construction zone, excuse me.
Oh, Bob, sorry, that was a 10 out of 10 until the last 9.5. Anyhow, Chime Diamond Centers. It was so good. Chime, here I am. Get the marbles out of your mouth. Charm Diamond Centers is proudly Canadian owned and operated since 1972 with more than 85 locations across the country. Through Charm and their sister brands. Super knowledgeable, not sure what to get? Go see the staff at Charm Diamond Centers. They will help you out. You can get a custom ring building delivered in less than 4 weeks with the Charm Masterpiece Program, unbeatable pricing policy. Valentine's Day is quickly coming, so don't forget about that. For a special occasion, Charm Diamond Center, it's the crown jewel of beautiful pieces of jewelry, including a large selection of Canadian lab-grown diamonds, mine diamonds, and you don't pay till 2025 with their instant in-store financing. For more information, go to charmdiamondcenters.com. I've had better days reading.
Just like the Sens.
I've got, that was a tough first read from here. It's been a while. You haven't let me read in a while.
Well, now you know why.
I'm not doing it anymore. You know what? You know how many gifts I've looked at today? We did our gift contest today. I probably got 1,000 gifts tweeted out at me today, and it was, I gotta say, thanks to everybody that took part, because I laughed my ass off for about 2 hours straight. So good. I'll say this about Sens Twitter: a lot of funny people out there. Like, a lot of people, like, shitty times right now for the Sens, but people still have a pretty good sense of humor. So congrats on that.
Are you going to go through your top 3 or whatever you want?
Well, I think, what did we go with, Gavin? Did we go top 3 or top 5? I think we might have went top 5, because I had like 1,000, Wally, and it was basically, we wanted you to send out, after watching that debacle last night, what your current mood was for the Senators. And I took the great one there, lollygaggers. That was mine. Bob, who's this guy here? I love explain this one to me.
So obviously there's no movement in the GIF here, but it was I just typed in utter defeat on GIFs and clicked on one because I was driving to the rink. I was on the ice this morning too, but I saw this guy just dry heaving in the shower, and I was like, "Yep, he's
there. He is."
Yeah.
Hey, Gavin.
I don't know what it's from.
Go ahead. Go back to mine for a sec. Okay, Bob, you've seen Bull Durham, obviously.
It's a classic, one of the best.
One of the best sports movies of all time. Bullum Durham's, the Bullum Bulls or whatever, Durham Bulls are on a huge losing streak, so they go in. What am I going to do with these guys? He gives them the lollygagger speech. One of the best scenes of that movie, when he calls out the boys for being lollygaggers. Well, let's get to our top. You can never get enough of Billy Madison here. One of the best scenes of that movie. Chris Farley. So current mood there. A little bit stressed on the school bus. Oh, see, this is not having the actual GIF here.
So Yorkie, here's what I found out while you were busy telling everybody all this stuff. The software only allows for 3 GIFs to be played due to the size. So that's why they're frozen.
Captain Kirk giving Spock a nice slap across the face there. Back to Billy Madison. Great scene. Old man comes out. It's poop again.
This is the most work you've ever done for the show.
Yeah, and this is brilliant. This, you know what, kind of sums up how the season's been, eh? Little Shawshank Redemption.
Great.
Same old day, same shit. And this again, love this one here. But like, when you think about the Sens right now, guys,
we need a live rooster for Corpy's glove. What a comment.
They are dealing with a lot of shit right now.
That's my favorite one right there.
Right? That's number one.
Live rooster.
Yeah. Bob, nobody can figure out what to get you for a wedding present. Nobody.
Really?
We haven't even started asking or thinking.
Well, that's part of the scene in Bull Durham when they're figuring out. There's a lot.
Yes,
of
I understand,
going on.
Yorkie, but we haven't discussed Bobby's wedding yet.
Well, there's a lot of shit going on.
Can we get back to the debacle?
I'll just say you guys better start discussing soon.
Are you registered anywhere like Bath and Body Works?
Didn't they go out a bit? Are they still around? I don't know.
That's the kind of gift you'll be getting.
Bed Bath and Beyond.
Yeah, Bed Bath. They went out of business. That's the one. But anyway, I'll get a little registry up there. You guys can send me some plastic silverware, whatever you want.
Yeah, like you need more stuff.
Yeah, right. No, I'm good.
Just get you a picture of Yorkie and I.
Bob, how many hoses? What's the hose count at right now? How many hoses do you own? I own
just 2.
You down to 2? Okay.
That's where I'm at. I'm done for a long while. You know what? I shouldn't say that. Give me a year, and then I start doing something. I get bored.
Yeah, give me a house.
I'm here for a year.
All right.
Okay. Can we go on?
Let's go. Yeah, let's talk Sens. Thrilling.
I want to start laying some blame here.
Let's talk turkey. Let's talk turkey. Let's go.
So, and I think part of it is going to be in our Did You Know, which is brought to you by Wendy's. As always, they're letting you win real food with your fantasy teams this year with the Wendy's Daily Face-Off Survivor Pool. For those of you who dream of smoking the competition, Wendy's is rewarding you with weekly prizes that will have you winning despite your lack of winning combinations. But here's the big secret to lineups. It's all syrup dishes like Wendy's new limited edition chicken strips and French toast sticks. And sometimes the best teammates are the ones you'd least suspect. Also, don't forget, when you sign up with the Wendy's app and download it, you can score yourself 150 bonus reward points on your first order and grab sweet victories from the mouth-watering jaws of defeat. Sign up daily to play the Daily Face-Off Wendy's Survivor Pool. It's on the Daily Face-Off website. Go to dailyfaceoff.com, obviously. Rack up those reward points and grab some free grub. All right. Did you know that Anton Forsberg and his 885 and Jonas Korpisalo with his 889 have combined for one of the worst save percentages in franchise history? In fact, they are 4th worst ever. And the other 3, those expansion years. That's how bad things have gone. So here's my question.
What's up?
Are we laying blame? It's easy to pick out the position because it's the only single position. Mm-hmm. Is it time just to lay blame on the goaltenders?
Well, it's a good thing Korpisalo is only on a short-term deal, right?
Yeah. We'll never see him again.
The gift that keeps on giving.
I saw a good tweet. Somebody was like, "Hey, it's a good. How did we end up with 2 goalies from Columbus that weren't good in Columbus?"
Do you guys remember the scene in Dumb and Dumber after Jim Carrey puts the X-Lax in the drink and the guy's and he's on the toilet, and then you see Jim Carrey driving off on the little motorcycle, and he's laughing his head off he's so proud of the work he does. That's Pierre Dorian right now, driving away, just laughing his head off.
Oh man,
look what I've left you with.
Man, early on, I was hesitant to lay blame just on the attendees because I thought that they were being asked to make way too many big time saves, shots from the slot, one-timers. Early on it was backdoor tap-ins. It was bad. But they weren't good during that stretch. And it's not even just they haven't been good. The guys in front of them are not helping them at all. The Knights did
but you've got to make saves. Not every goalie in the National Hockey League is getting help from their D all the time.
No, but they're getting more than they're getting.
No, I understand. But I'm just saying at some point they've got to make a stop. Like that bounce in, I think at the end on Korpisalo, or the one where Forsberg's cheating on the side and they pop it in, right, where he's not hugging the post.
Oh, it's horrible.
That stuff can't happen.
That stuff's indefensible, but I'm just going to I don't know what percentage point you put on it, but the goalies are arguably in the top 2 or 3 things biggest problem with this team. But when you put that with one of the other thing is absolutely blown coverage, and those 2 are going to compound each other. And then now you're looking at the fact that there doesn't seem to be the penalty kill, right? Yeah. So those 2 things are going to lead to just horrific save percentages come from those two things. You can't clean all of them up, but the goalie's been bad. There's just no way around it.
But your goalie has to be your best penalty killer too.
Yeah, he does. He does.
Mm-hmm.
Well, boys, remember, you go back to the New Jersey game. Go back to that New Jersey game at home. Ottawa had a nice little stretch going. They had won some games. You could see the kind of the mentality of the team starting to come around, right? Had a little success. You beat Toronto. You had blown those earlier leads. You blew the lead in Arizona. You blew the lead in Colorado. Then you come back and you win a couple games. And then all of a sudden, you're not playing great in the New Jersey game, but Batherson scores and he gets you up 1-0. Do you guys remember that goal they scored? I believe it was on Korpisalo. It was the power play goal. It was a short-sider. Kind of just went right through them. That goal deflated the entire hockey team. And then after that, it was just open season. He let another one in. And New Jersey ended up outplaying Ottawa in that game. But that, to me, really kind of turned things after that because I know as a player, when you just don't really have a lot of faith in your goaltender. And I feel that's the situation. You'll never say that as a player, but that's going on mentally with this team right now. You just know that your goaltenders aren't playing well. And as a group, it's very deflating. And you can't lie. Like, look at the numbers, look at the save percentage. It is what it is. Like, they haven't been good. And yeah, there's bad bounces and this and that, but both goalies have been extremely inconsistent and the team hasn't played well, but hey, I always say this. Sometimes you'll say, well, he had no chance. Well, sometimes you have to stop the ones at key times when you weren't supposed to make a save. And you can't say that very often with these goalies where they just don't make time. They don't make timely saves. They just don't.
And they're not stealing you a victory ever.
No.
So look at the save percentages from last night's game. Anton Forsberg was .692.
Yeah.
His goals against average is 14.15
in the game. Yeah. Yeah. Like,
buddy,
at some point, that's not on the D all the time.
No.
The D have thrown some good pizzas lately, like some good apple turnovers. Like this team's been
Drake Batherson. Like, Batherson has that turnover at the blue line where he's trying to stick handle his way out, and it ends up in the back of the net, but it's a terrible bouncing puck on Forsberg. Or sorry, on Korpisalo.
You actually don't worry. Drake shouldn't have gotten that puck there. I didn't like the play that led to that, but yes, I agree. And at that point, you're down 5-3 and you're 2 goals. You're taking chances everywhere. So I watched that twice this morning, and I was like, he got the puck. He didn't have anywhere to go, really. But back to the goaltending. When you break down Forsberg's game, take 2 of those away because they were one's that fluky one, right? That and then one's the other fluky one that Sanderson tips in, where Forsberg was there to make the save on the original shot, but it just goes in. So take 2 of those away. He still wasn't good. He just there's a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, just a tiny bit. Like, I'm just trying to alleviate this poor guy. Let's give him a break, because 2 of those goals were so fluky.
Yeah, it is so tough playing in a Canadian market if you're a goaltender and things aren't going well.
Oh,
it's going to get back to you.
Oh, wait a sec. We've been very soft on the goaltenders in this, at least this season, for sure.
I'm just saying, it takes a special mindset to be a good goalie in a Canadian market. It just does. Like, especially here. Like, remember, we used to call Ottawa the goalie graveyard. Goalies came here to graveyard. But goalies came here to die.
We're not in there every night hammering on goalies going, why can't you stop the puck? Why do you suck?
I'm not blaming the media. I'm just saying it's a lot easier I'll give you Freddie Anderson, for example. Guy was getting destroyed in Toronto. You go to Carolina and all of a sudden nobody even knows who you are. Like, certain personalities just can't take this kind of heat. And it's not even a lot of heat. It's not a lot of heat, but those other areas where you play in the league, there is zero heat. When I played in Nashville, we had one PR guy or one media guy. He'd come in and you'd basically tell him what to write. It was great. It's like, what do you think? How'd the game go? Well,
but maybe that's on the player.
Like, sure, it's on the player.
It's not like we've had a plethora of outstanding goaltenders that have come through here. They got Matt Murray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Cam
the
Talbot,
goalie,
I don't know what to
Thomas-
tell you about Cam Talbot because
He's playing pretty good.
he was always hurt.
Yeah, he
But-
was. Yeah.
Like, look at if you went through the list of goaltenders that played here through, especially like the last 6 years,
Mhm.
it's not very good.
I know Decord didn't play here, but he's having.
They
a ton
gave
of
up on
success.
Decord.
He's having a ton of success in Seattle. The kid they traded for Talbot went on to do great. Ben Bishop
Gustafson.
went on to have an unbelievable career.
Ben Bishop should never have been traded. That was a nonsensical move.
Yeah. Why did he get
Wasn't it
traded?
between him and Leonard at that point? Because Andy was
Yeah,
still-
they had 3
yeah.
goalies, and
Right.
they were convinced that Leonard was the guy.
Yeah. You know what? He went on to have
He did okay.
Vezina, and yeah, he was pretty good too.
Yeah, he did okay. But okay, if you had to pick one of the two in their prime, Ben Bishop or Robin Leonard, who are you taking?
Ben Bishop. Yeah.
Yes,
And that's not
exactly.
Robin had to leave Ottawa to be good, right? To become.
Seems everybody
lot-
does.
But
Yeah.
that's what I just said. That's exactly you just agreed.
I know,
with me.
but my point is, Yorkie, it's not on the city of Ottawa is not going after these goaltenders. I think
No,
it's their
they're-
mental makeup.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm not blaming the city. Like everyone has their right, but just some guys are just mentally weak. They are.
Well, Craig Anderson did okay for 10 years.
Because he's a friggin' ultimate underdog. He's mentally strong. Like the guy's, he's got a will that is unbreakable.
And he doesn't give a shit what you say.
right.
You are not affecting. You could tell Andy whatever you wanted, and he'd be like, "Okay, 5 plus 5 is 9." And Andy goes, "You're absolutely right," and just goes about his day. No care in
But
the world.
there you go, Bob. That's
Yep.
exactly the personality that can thrive in a Canadian market, where other guys, I don't know. It is what it is. Like some
Okay, but
guys can't play in some markets.
We also don't bother to keep goalies around very long. So let me ask you a trivia question. The Sens have been around now over 30 years, 30 seasons. How many goaltenders have played 100 games for the Ottawa Senators?
Ooh,
5.
let me think here. Let me think. Hi, Lalim, Anderson, 100 games. Eh?
Leonard.
I'll go 6.
No, not
7.
Leonard. 7. Did Leonard get
And
100?
Anton Forsberg's at 96. Anderson, Lalim, Rhodes, Tugnut, Emery, Elliott, Gerber.
Oh, okay.
Darth Gerber.
Darth Gerber. So
nobody since Anderson, obviously. So Forsberg is going to get. Well, I don't know if he's going to get there at this point. 96, but
he only needs 4 more. But
Ottawa ate up Darth Gerber too. He couldn't handle the heat either.
Before me,
He was awesome in Carolina.
I agree. But maybe that's the structure of what's been in front of them. We've also had about 900 players play for this organization since then. We just keep moving them in and out.
Yeah, that never helps.
Well, it's been a carousel. My last couple of years there was like, who's this guy?
Yes.
Like, where did he come from?
There was a time,
Like,
I think
you'd walk in and you see the board and you're like, I've never even heard that name.
You guys have name tags?
Yeah.
hello, my name
Hello,
is
my name
My
is
name is
Robert.
Bob.
like there was one point I looked
Like a
up.
convention.
I think it was over 3 straight years they had used over 100 players. Like over 3 combined years. Like the most of anybody in the National Hockey League.
I remember sitting with Andy in Minnesota, I think it was. And we were very bad. And like, we were the older guys. Zach Smith was still around. Bora was still around. But like, we were just sitting at dinner one night and I was like, it's getting pretty ugly. Like, it's getting pretty thin here. And he just looks at me and he goes, this is an absolute tragedy. Because we were like, yeah, they're calling up guys for the road trip. And I was like, they signed him for the road trip. Like, it was just craziness, absolute craziness. And it wasn't like Belleville was lighting the world on fire. So we're like, just call up 5 of those guys. But yeah, bringing in waiver guys and yeah.
It wasn't a lot of fun. That's why I'm like, look at where we're at, up against the cap with players that shouldn't be on contracts like Travis Hamonic and his 2-year no move trade. Jonas Korpisalo. Like, so Gavin, can you put up the core board if you have it? These are the players who were signed for at least the next 3 years. Shane Pinto, obviously not on this list. He doesn't have a contract. Jonas Korpisalo and Drake Batherson, I think, are the first. Zub and Batherson are the first to come off. But everybody else is signed for longer than 3 years. How many of those guys are going to be here in 3 years?
Well, you got Tim, Brady, Jake, and that's all I would actually guarantee. That's the only 3 I would guarantee. Chabot going to be a free agent?
What do you mean? He's signed till 27, 28.
I'm just saying. Oh, you know what? You said in 3 years from now. I meant at the end of their contract. I apologize. In 3 years from now, I'll make 3 guarantees. My bad. Sorry, guys. Stützle, Tkachuk, Sanderson, and everybody else is up for grabs. So that's my guess. My 3 right there in 3 years. That's it.
Yeah.
But we're guaranteeing 3 guys that are playing the worst. Two of which are playing the worst hockey of their careers right now.
Yeah.
So, but they're still on.
Yeah.
To me,
I would agree. I would agree with that. And I would add in, if this team continues to not see any improvement as the trade deadline approaches, it wouldn't shock me if a move is made and at least one of these guys is gone, because this team's going backwards right now.
In the summer, Yorkie, or in the season?
I could see a guy getting moved at the deadline in a big trade.
Yep.
I could see it, like, especially too, like, now you've got Dave Poulin here. You've got your front office kind of set,
right? And
the trade deadline is a great time where you can, especially if you want to move someone that can provide some goal scoring for another team, and you can really set yourself up nicely. I know you can do it at the draft as well, but I'm just saying, if this continues like this, it won't shock me if the core is broken up, because right now, this is just my opinion, I think it's a country club. And I agree with you. So you got a shock. There's got to be some shock coming in. Like, it's something's got to change.
So interesting you bring up Dave Poulin, and I thought one of his quotes from 2 days ago when he was named was very telling. When you're putting a team together, it's tempting to look at all the pieces and think that you have perfect pieces, but they're not perfect if they don't go together, said Poulin. So the process of starting to identify with our scouts, what does an Ottawa Senator look like? What are we looking to do? What are the necessary ingredients to be successful? And then finding the pieces that fit together, because what looks good on paper doesn't necessarily look good on the ice. That's Dave Poulin. And that says there's some change coming.
For sure.
I agree.
Because this team, one sec, Bobby, has no identity. None whatsoever.
Yeah. I think they got a wake-up call in the media today with Jacques' quote. Excuse me.
What did he say? I didn't read it.
I'm paraphrasing, but he had said a lot of our players have to take a look in the mirror because our 36-year-old is our best player. Loosely. Yeah.
Yes.
Which I love, because I hope that the players hear that and resonate, because you can't, I mean, Claude Giroux is going to get moved before, like, they're going to give him a chance to go. So, and if I'm Claude, I'm yanking at the chain saying, yes, let me go try. Right. I didn't sign up for this. This wasn't what was promised. But I would agree with the Poulin quote. I think that he has change on the mind already, is my guess. Like, it's time, because the country, I don't know if it's a country club, but it's the way it is. York is, you know how you're losing. Now you're not playing any hockey. It's January 3rd. You're out. The season's lost. You're not making the playoffs. And these guys have been through this 5 times, some of them 6 times, other ones, a couple that just 2 or 3. There's no incentive for them to play right now, because they're defeated. And it takes time to come out of that. And sometimes shock and awe is what you need to come out of that.
This is the problem when you pay everybody, and everybody does it now, because you're trying to get ahead of the cap. We all know this. You're trying to get a player, sign him early, identify him that he's going to be a core player with your team. You pay him up front, and then all of a sudden it doesn't. I'm not saying it's these players it's never going to work out for, and you throw the towel in, because they're still very young players. Especially Stützle, especially Sanderson, pretty well most of the guys. But I'm just seeing some things in a lot of the guys, and some little details in the games where, man, like, you got to play with more fire. You got to be. It's like when you play against certain guys, Bob, and they will do whatever it takes to beat you on a foot race, to beat you for that loose puck. Yeah, and you're like, and they do it every single time they're on the ice, and it's like, oh. Like, look at the will Crosby has. Not only is he a great player, but the will he plays with, like when he goes into the corner and battles for a puck, like he's battling you like his life depends on it. And I don't see that from a lot of guys on this team consistently. I see it sometimes, but I don't see it consistent enough. And that's why I think a shakeup's coming.
That's how I felt playing. That's how I felt playing against Ryan Smith today. Guy just only knows one speed. Come on, man.
Was this Smitty out there?
For the kids. Yeah. But you know what? My towel's thrown in, honestly, on this core. It's got to change.
Yeah.
They haven't, two things. They haven't taken a step forward in 2 years, not one.
So, yeah. But you say 3 are untouchable. Is it 3 or is it more? Is it less? Like, do you think that this core with those 3 is enough? I'm wondering, where's Josh Norris fit? Or is it just we need to move guys just to change the makeup?
Number one, you need to change them, and then you have to be cap compliant. So it's not going to be easy to trade a lot of names. Like right now, the only name that I'm looking at on other teams is Drake Batherson because he's $4.8 million, or Zub, but Zub's not moving. He's a right-handed D. They don't grow on trees. To me, you look at Tim Stützle, Brady Tkachuk, Jake Sanderson, and every single other person. And I would maybe slide Bath in there just because the contract's so good, and I think he's the second most offensively important person. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and add him. Everybody else can go. Like you can anybody make me an offer on any of them, and I will listen.
Okay, but here's a problem, and you brought him up. Claude Giroux has a no move clause. Mm-hmm. Vladimir Tarasenko has a no move clause. Travis Hamonic has a no move clause. Pierre Dorian handcuffed this team so badly that he can't move out pieces unless he goes to them, or Steve Stais, that is, and says, will you waive these no move clauses? And
all 3 of the people that you named are maybe not Hamonic because he's been differential about those his entire career. The other guys are going most likely. I know Drew's got local ties, but
I don't think he does.
He doesn't want to run it out. I think he moves. Like he's 36. He wants to win before he goes, and he says to his wife and family, "We got 2 more years, maybe 3, whatever."
Yeah.
How are you not getting off the ship if they come to you and they say, "We got an offer and it's down to a couple teams and we like all the offers"? What do we like? They would work with them at 36.
Because what if his wife says, "Claude, I don't want to move"?
Well, then it's a different discussion. I mean,
but that stuff happens.
Oh, it does. It absolutely does. But I mean, he's going, "Hey, hun, it could be Tampa." She's going, "Okay."
Is it tax free? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I can sit on the beach. Okay, cool. I don't know there's so many different inner workings, but I'm just saying everybody but those 3 and loosely putting Bath in there.
If you watch how Claude Giroux competes and how he battles and the fire and the passion he plays with, you telling me he's not going to want to go and have a chance to win a Stanley Cup? Something that he is going to cherish for the rest of his life, and it's why you play the game. And I don't know Claude that well, but I would, without knowing, I would say a very good chance. Hey, Ray Bourque left the Boston Bruins to go win a Stanley Cup with the Colorado Avalanche. Like, come on, it's the Stanley Cup. And not knowing Claude that well, the one thing I do know is that guy wants to win.
Yeah.
And
yes.
And if I look,
if I'm the Ottawa Senators, I'm not moving him. He's the only guy I can see every night on the ice plays to compete like a professional.
I'm not moving
every shift.
100%. And he's a great mentor. He's a great leader.
That's what you need.
And probably a guy you want as part of your organization long term. Like the guy speaks both English, French, be a great whatever he wants, like when he's retired for Ottawa. But I'm just, what else when the deadline comes this year, you're not going to get a lot for Tarasenko. Hopefully he keeps scoring like this and gets on a heater, because he just got 2 goals in a nothing game in the 3rd period, but those goals are going to count. So you're hoping like hell he keeps doing that, and all of a sudden you can fool a team at the deadline to give you a high draft pick for him. But I would only trade Claude Giroux only if I got an offer that friggin' knocked my socks off, that you couldn't resist. And maybe you got to throw a couple more pieces in there. Because look, this team is now under a new regime, and they're going to now get their hands invested, dirty, whatever you want to call it, and start molding how they think this team is going to move forward and win. Because right now, this isn't the group to do it.
Nope.
It's not.
Nope.
Okay. So now I want to switch a bit then and go, you guys are now on the team going to Seattle, having suffered yet another defeating loss. I guess they're all defeating, but it just looks mentally tough. How do you get out of this nonsense that's happening right now? Like, because you guys have always said, and I've never known a player in the 20 years, whatever I've covered, to quit or give up playing. So how do you fix this?
Get some saves.
Don't take penalties. Yeah.
Don't turn the puck over.
I mean,
block some shots.
What did I say a while ago when the new staff came in? It takes 20 games, and I didn't know the number for sure. You just have to wait for things to the small things will add up over time, and then you'll start to see a better product is what you hope. But I mean, I've been in a situation where you're done playing good hockey in January and you got to run it out. I don't think doesn't feel like there's a commitment from the players to want to change yet to me. So I've seen that one game since they played, and who did they
Buffalo?
Was it Pittsburgh?
Buffalo. They were very good. They gave a lot of shots. They pretty well controlled that game. I felt like you never felt that. Like, I liked how they played in that game.
I saw a clip. Yeah, I did too.
Pittsburgh or Toronto. They went back to back.
They seem just resistant. And maybe that's because things look harder and bleaker right now. Right. But I saw a clip of Alfie coaching Stutzel on the bench. He wasn't even looking over his shoulder. He was kind of, and you can take what you want from the clip, but Alfie's having a candid conversation with him, and Stutzel looked very uninterested.
Yeah. It's think about this, Bob. And when you're making that kind of money, and you can relate, you made a lot of money. When you're a young guy like that, that's still kind of immature, you got a lot of power.
Yeah.
You got a lot of power, and it's scary when you think about it. Like,
it is. Like he knows just about everybody's going before him.
Exactly. Right. And it's emotional during a game. Like, your guys are telling you stuff. You're trying to do stuff. So I can see the frustration, but that's the problem, man. When you pay players this much this early, I'll give you Josh Norris, for example. He got paid on 1 year of scoring 35 goals on a bad team. 35 goals. And here's the thing. Every team's going to have a 30-goal scorer, usually. Somebody's got to get the goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bad teams have 30-goal scorers. And now all of a sudden, like, I'm not saying Josh is a bad player, but he's got to make some changes in his game. Like, he does. He just does.
Yeah. A lot could be said about quite a few of those guys right now, though.
Isn't that the problem? It's everybody needs to change their game almost. Like, they have all these bad habits.
Yeah. It's just
it's not just Josh Norris.
It's not. But when you get paid a lot of money, you got to perform. And fair or not fair, it's just the way it is. And I know guys are young and don't have a lot of games played, but that's the thing. Expectations grow when you're making the money. And guys are learning on the job, but still, like, it's a hard league, and it's even harder to commit to playing the right way. Everybody wants to score. Everybody wants to put up points, but you got to sacrifice some of that if you want to win. And right now it's not even close to being consistent enough with this group. Not even close. No.
So Bob, because you've gone through this a few years ago with Ottawa, like, give me the mood around this group.
Oh man, morose. And it's because you get to a point where you're so chipper, right? You're like, okay, things aren't going well. Let's get out of it. Let's snap out of it. Let's go. They're so far beyond that right now for me that I can't imagine it's fun for anybody going to the rink and not knowing what the day is going to hold, how the team's going to play. You're just getting up and you're going to a game and you're like, let's hope that tonight something changes that becomes a domino effect, right? We've always said that, and we're like, now you just hope it's a domino effect, but they've never proven they can do it more than 2 games at a time. So the mood's tough. It's tough. And you got guys like I'm sure, and Hamnick to a lesser degree. I know he's a quieter guy, but they're talking from experience and saying, we can get out of this still, we can get out of this. And then is it to the point now where it's falling on deaf ears because everybody's like, no, we can't. We know like we can access the standings at any point. We can't. It's hard, but you got your leaders for a reason. They're trying to keep guys upbeat, trying to make coming to the rink fun. And it's beyond hard when you know you're out and you have 30, whatever more, right? Games left. It's awful. So I can't imagine. I've been in those shoes, but not a January.
So are players now, this roster, although it means maybe somebody's moving, are they hoping then to see a shakeup?
It's tough because I get the sense that this is a really tight group. So I don't think so, but maybe I remember being on a team where we were expecting a lot of trades at a deadline, and we were like, maybe this will be good for the future. Not that we were going to be here long term, but we were like, maybe it'll just change the complexity of our team a little bit going down the stretch, and it'll help. Which is never the case. You don't want to see a good buddy get traded. You'd be happy for him. Especially if it's a guy, but you'd be happy for him. Go get a chance. Like go chase something down. Absolutely. So yeah, they're probably thinking it's time for something for sure. They're just all wondering who it's going to be.
Yeah. You think they're there? I don't know if they're there.
You can look at it last night, York. You can see it. Like Claude Giroux, I think he wants to fight Spartacat. Like he's so angry.
Oh my God. Yeah. Like this is killing a guy like that. Like guy wants to win.
That's the guy you need. You need that guy to be, listen, I've seen it. I've gone through it. We will fix this.
Yeah. The thing with Claude though, is he 35, 36?
36. Like
you're I want to say wasting, but you're still a really good player in this league, and it's going to kill him if he's not in the playoffs again. Like this is a year when, like, I think to a man across the board, we all picked the Senators to be a playoff team. And if you look around the NHL, everybody picked these, and even if not a playoffs, to take a step.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's got everybody so pissed off. It's not only wasn't a step taken, you've taken a couple steps backwards, and it's beyond frustrating. And you can see the fan base, you've ownership, everybody, players.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. The rest of this road trip is going to be very interesting. Like I said, this is a very tough schedule, and it's not great timing when you got a team that's as fragile as this team right now.
Yeah.
They have won, of all their seasons, this is the 7th most losses they've had after 33 games.
Wow.
Like it's just not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. Like you can't see progress anywhere. I don't know of one spot that looks as a bonus at the moment.
That's a good question.
Penalty kills worst in the league. The power play is okay. It's falling. It's not okay. It's actually falling. Goals against, again, save percentage is horrendous. Like, name me something that. Oh, you know what? Since Jacques took over, they've allowed, I think, 4 or 5 second period goals. They went from the most against to now they're like 25th overall.
But how many goals? But how many goals are they allowing a game on average?
Listen, Yorkie, I'm trying to find the positive. Do you mind?
Okay.
I was going to say, how many are they allowing in the first?
Okay. Give you a positive.
I can't work with you.
I'll give you a positive as a whole for the Ottawa Senators right now. If everyone's listening, Jake Sanderson. What is he? 21 years old, 20, whatever. He is a kid. I have kids that are, my youngest son's in 01. Like they're kids. Like he is still a kid. Sky's the limit for Sanderson. As much as everyone's been ragging on Stützle lately, kid's born in 2002. Great player. You've got the 2 most important positions besides goaltender, center ice position, and I believe Stützle's a center. I don't believe he's a winger. I know people are talking about him going on. I think that's nonsense. He's a centerman. Centerman, defenseman. You got 2 of the most important positions, and to me, 2 franchise players. Long term, these guys are going to be fine. They're going to be fine, and I think people need to remember that. Then you look at around, you got a great captain in Brady Tkachuk. He's going through a tough time right now. It'll get better for him down the. He's going to will himself out of this. So Those are 3 important positions. And if you look around the NHL at some of the bad teams in the NHL, they don't have 3 pieces like that. Ottawa's in a fortunate position to have 3 players, and those are the 3 guys that Bob pointed out to be untouchables that I agree with. And then you add in some other nice pieces too. And it's just I really believe they need to insulate these guys with some better veterans. Claude is great, but you need more of that. You look at the good teams around the league, they have more of those types of players that insulate your young guys. And Ottawa they don't. When you get down to their bottom, like you see good teams, Bob, they have like older guys in their bottom 6.
The Islanders.
And they're just, even if you look at New Jersey, for example, you got a guy like that's in your bottom 6, like a guy like Eric Holla. Like he's been in the league for a while, and he's still a good player, and he commands some respect when he comes. Like it must be tiring for Claude Giroux to be the only guy really up front that's really has that, because I don't know if there's anybody else. Is there, Bob?
No. That's the problem, though. These guys are all brought in at those ages on 1-year deals, and nobody's coming to Ottawa on a 1-year deal because of the past.
Yeah.
It might change in the future because of what's being inserted, but right now you're looking around and Ottawa reaches out, but so does a team. I just name a team, aside from maybe Winnipeg and a couple others, but it's hard to attract that kind of guy that's like, I'm on the tail end of my career. We haven't made the playoffs in 6. You want to come up and be our 3rd line winger? It's like, no, it's just like I'm not slamming. It's just the way, and that's the way it's been, because on top of that, the team's been bad. So why would I do that?
Yeah. And like, even look at their back end, like your older guy, who's your veteran presence back there, you brought in, who he was waived through the entire league. Like Travis Hamonic was waived through the entire NHL. You brought him in, and like he's done a pretty good job. I know he's not playing well lately, but he's on the back 9 of his career. Like this team has never really had an older defense for the last little while, an older defenseman that carries a lot of sway that the younger guys really have to look up to. And Hamonic, you can look up to him, but a guy that's just a really good player right now, and a defenseman, and is older. They don't have that.
You know what? If you watch his first period last night, he was 3-putting on 18.
He wasn't good.
It was ugly. I felt so bad. Like you feel better because at a certain point, everybody kind of loses it, right, as you get older. I was way worse than him in my last year in the league. I had no business. I got a it's the Boston Bruins 100th year anniversary. I just got an awesome thing in the mail from them, Bob and Wally. They sent me this cool little package, little picture, a pin, and a nice little thing saying thanks for being a Boston Bruins. So classy. Just cool to open that up. But I just brought me back when I was playing there, and I was 37. You just know when you're no good, and you shouldn't be in the league anymore. when you're going, I remember my last game in Boston. I was like, I ended up getting a stick signed because I knew I couldn't play anymore. I'm like, I just want to get out of this game and not get hurt. Like, that was my mindset. That's amazing.
Oh,
That's
God.
When you said that you were no good anymore and you just knew it, Bobby had a look on his face like, I don't know what you're talking about. So
when your priorities, here's why I was still playing in the league. Obviously, it's the NHL. You want to play in the NHL. But my best memories of that year was being able to bring my kids inside the locker room. And I was so fired up for that. My kids would come in, they'd run around, be part of it. I was like, man, I'd like to do this for one more year because I love having my kids around. Yeah. But I'm really not that good anymore, and I probably shouldn't be playing because I'm going to hurt myself. Time to hang them up.
When I remember leaving Detroit, and I had I could have. We had taken some contracts and said it just doesn't make sense for the family that summer, and then ended up going up in PTO. And Steve's like, I don't even know if we have room, but come in. You were good for us last year. We'll do a PTO. And then there was an opportunity to stay there too. And I just said, that was me. I was like, there's something to be said about just being like, I'm done. I didn't want to do it anymore at all. I didn't want to travel. I wanted to be home, and I wanted to start that next. I was done. I had a meeting with him at 10 o'clock in the morning on the phone, and I was in Nashville by 7 o'clock at night. It was an 8-hour drive. I was like, no. I went to the rink and stole a bunch of shit and left. I'm still using plastic from the Detroit Red Wings, plastic tape.
Nice.
Yeah.
But okay, so here you are, high-end, highly skilled player. Was it a shot to the ego, for lack of a better term, to be on a PTO?
No, because I knew that I could have gone the other route and signed places. I just was looking for something different, and I didn't want to be where those places were. And no, I didn't have, I don't know. I didn't have much of an ego towards it. If a team needs you, great. If not, I don't know. There's other things you can do if you want. I was actually much calmer about it than I think I thought I was for years. Like when it was looking like it was coming to the end, but ultimately, like I had been thinking about it the year before after the comeback and stuff. We had already sold our house in Ottawa and we were just going to rent that last 2 years of my contract. I was pretty content, and I thought I was going to be worse about it, but no complaints.
No, good. Good. Cause it's not always easy. I know when you guys leave, like you've been looked at, cheered upon. Like I know all that stuff is so much fun for so long. It's tough to leave.
Yeah, that part of it was the only part that was different. But like, and then you get up, and 6 months later, I stayed in shape. I was thinking about the Olympics and the Spengler Cup and just having some fun for that little bit of time. But after a minute, I was like, I'm good. I'm so happy here. Living life in Nashville, trying to get the scratch.
Your former teammate, Chris DiDomenico, played in the Spengler this year.
I saw that actually. That guy just fountain of youth over there. He's such a good European player. Dude, he's one of the best 3-on-3 players I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah?
Really?
Yeah. Just a really good, smart, skilled hockey player, but he's just too small and slow for the league.
Yeah. All right. I have a whole bunch of other stuff. I want to get into a Brady discussion tomorrow. So we're going to save that. Also, we're going to talk about playing the Seattle Kraken and Joey Decord and how well he's done. So until then, go rest up and take your vitamins, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See you guys.
See you, everybody.
Take care.